Have you ever wondered why so many elderly people who seemed perfectly healthy just a few years ago suddenly fade away silently around 82 years old? It's not from a sudden heart attack, aggressive cancer, or some tragic accident. The cause is much more discreet, insidious, and what's most concerning, ignored by almost everyone. I'm Dr. Evelyn Carter, specialist in men's health, with over 3 decades dedicated to helping older men not just live longer, but live better. During all these years, I've accompanied thousands of patients and studied countless medical research, detecting subtle patterns that most doctors tend to ignore. Let me reveal something that can transform your perspective forever. One of the most powerful indicators of longevity after 60 years old is not related to your blood tests, blood pressure, cholesterol, or aerobic capacity. It's hidden in an aspect that almost no one talks about openly, and that unfortunately many abandon out of shame, fear, or wrong ideas. Today I'm going to share with you a hidden key to staying full of vitality, independent, and with a sharp mind, not just until 80 or 90 years old, but far beyond. The best part is you won't need expensive medications, exhausting routines, or restrictive diets. This tool is already inside you, waiting to be activated. I invite you to stay with me, because I'm going to guide you step by step through a simple but transformative path you can start applying today to recover your energy and well-being. Additionally, what I'll share at the end can completely revolutionize your vision about aging. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any essential health advice designed to help you stay strong, vital, and self-sufficient. And if you feel this message resonates with you, write a 1 in the comments. If you think we can improve, write 0. Your opinion is invaluable and helps us always offer the best. Now that you have an idea of how fundamental this hidden aspect of health is, let's discover together one of the most silent and devastating threats faced by elderly people today. A silent epidemic that steals energy, weakens the body, and shortens life prematurely. It's the loss of connection with physical pleasure. This silent disconnection is a phenomenon I've seen repeated many times in my practice. When I talk with patients of 70, 80 years or older, I frequently notice a silent sadness in their gaze, as if they had accepted, resigned, that life has become grayer, more distant, and less meaningful. Over the years, I've identified one of the most profound and devastating changes that accompany aging: a progressive disconnection from their own bodies and from the physical pleasure that once made them feel vibrant and full of life. This is not an easy topic for elderly people to discuss, but it happens everywhere, slowly draining the vitality of men and women, many times without them realizing it. At some point, society whispered a dangerous lie: that intimacy, physical contact, and sexual expression are exclusive territories of the young, and that after a certain age we should silently close that door and renounce this essential part of our humanity. Many elderly people end up believing this idea, convinced that seeking or enjoying physical pleasure is inappropriate, shameful, or simply impossible at this stage of life. Some withdraw due to physical changes, others due to emotional wounds, and many due to lack of knowledge. They don't know that this aspect is not only possible, but absolutely necessary to maintain integral health. What most don't understand is that this disconnection marks the beginning of a very dangerous, vicious circle. The lack of regular stimulation reduces blood flow to vital organs. Neural pathways related to pleasure weaken and atrophy, and hormonal levels begin to become imbalanced, favoring progressive decline. Little by little, the body loses flexibility, strength, and resilience, leaving us more fragile and vulnerable, almost without realizing it. It's not just about sexual intimacy. The impact extends to all levels: mental, emotional, and physical. Sleep deteriorates, mood weakens, and daily energy slowly decreases. Over time, even the immune system weakens silently, and the risk of chronic diseases like heart problems, dementia, and depression increases many times without immediate perception. I've witnessed this process several times in my practice. Men and women who were once dynamic and full of life begin, without realizing it, to lose that inner spark. It's not because their hearts suddenly failed or their bones became fragile, but because the essence that kept them vital was set aside and forgotten. I'm not exaggerating when I say that physical pleasure, intimacy with oneself or with another person, is one of the fundamental pillars of human vitality. Renouncing this out of fear, shame, or misinformation not only steals joy but also shortens years of life. But here comes the good news. There's always hope. Reconnecting with your body and awakening those sensations you perhaps thought were lost can initiate a healing process much deeper and more powerful than you imagine. It's never too late to rediscover what your body can still offer you. This rediscovery can be the key to unlocking more solid health, clearer memory, and emotional resilience much greater than you thought possible. Now, what exactly gives physical pleasure that unique power to protect your brain, heart, and future independence? Stay with me, because what you're about to discover can completely transform your vision about aging. If you're here and this message resonates with you, write 1 in the comments so I know you're walking this journey with me. Let's move forward to reveal an impactful truth. Point number 2. Why is masturbation after 60 years old fundamental for longevity? Throughout the decades, I've witnessed profound yet silent transformations in patients who remained connected with their bodies as they aged. Over time, it became absolutely clear. Maintaining physical pleasure, including solitary sexual expression, is not a superficial luxury, but an essential foundation for lasting health and full longevity. It may be surprising, especially if you grew up in a culture where these topics are treated with discomfort or even shame. But biology, unlike social norms, sends a clear message. After 60 years old, the body experiences natural changes: decreased blood circulation, reduced hormonal production, muscle atrophy, and neurological slowdown. However, it has been demonstrated that regular masturbation practice can counteract many of these effects. When an elderly person engages in sexual expression, even without a partner, the body responds in surprising ways. Blood flow increases, reaching brain, heart, and extremities, nourishing tissues that would otherwise begin to deteriorate. Endorphins are released in large quantities, reducing stress and promoting deeper and more restorative sleep. Testosterone levels also experience a slight increase, helping maintain muscle mass, bone density, and emotional strength, pillars for healthy and active aging. Perhaps most fascinating is the brain effect. Sexual pleasure activates multiple brain regions simultaneously, keeping neural pathways related to memory, emotional regulation, and higher cognitive functions alive. Simply put, it keeps the brain young, flexible, and alert. I've seen patients who, by incorporating this practice naturally and healthily, not only experience greater mental clarity and creativity, but also report a much more positive and luminous perspective of life. Let me tell you about Mr. Richard Morrison, 74 years old, retired engineer from Seattle. Richard came to see me 2 years ago completely resigned. "Dr. Carter," he told me with a tired voice, "I feel like my body is shutting down. I no longer feel desire. I no longer have energy. I think this is simply what being old means." I explained what I'm now sharing with you. I talked about the importance of maintaining that vital connection with his own body. At first, he showed resistance, even a bit of shame, but he decided to try. He started with small steps, no pressure, no expectations. 6 months later, Richard returned to my office transformed. His posture was different, more upright. His voice had energy. "Doctor," he told me with bright eyes, "I can't believe the difference. I sleep better, my memory improved, I feel like doing things again. I feel alive for the first time in years." That's the transformation I'm talking about. Beyond the physical and biological benefits, there's something even deeper at play. Masturbation, after 60 years old, represents much more than a simple physical act. It's a powerful gesture of self-recognition. It's an affirmation that your body continues to be worthy of care, affection, and pleasure. This act directly contradicts the harmful myth that wants us to believe that aging is synonymous with disappearing or becoming invisible. On the contrary, it's a vibrant reminder that life can still be felt intensely, fully, and deeply personally. This emotional reconnection with oneself frequently acts as a catalyst for other positive changes. I've seen that by recovering that intimate part of being, many of my patients develop new, healthier habits, improve their diet, become interested again in social activities, and feel renewed desire to move, exercise, and stay active. When they ask me if it's too late to awaken this dimension, I always answer with the same certainty. It's never too late. Your body may need more time, patience, and gentle care, but it continues fully capable of experiencing deep and nourishing sensations that feed your spirit and reinforce your health beyond what you imagine. Now, you may wonder, if the benefits are so great, why do so many elderly people still struggle to maintain this vital connection? The answer lies in a network of hidden and painful misunderstandings that have taken root for generations. And that's exactly what we're going to unravel. 3 mistaken ideas that steal vitality from elderly people. Throughout my years of clinical practice, I've observed how easy it is for strong men and women full of life to fall into silent mental traps that slowly wear down their vital energy. Many times they don't even realize it until they wake up feeling like shadows of what they were. These beliefs are not mere harmless misunderstandings. They are invisible and powerful forces that push elderly people to abandon one of their most potent sources of health and well-being. One of the most painful beliefs I've seen repeatedly is the idea that after a certain age, physical pleasure no longer matters. I can't count how many times I've heard someone say with a sad and resigned smile, "I'm too old for that." But reality is very different. Age doesn't erase the capacity or the need your body has for intimacy and contact. What changes is the way that need manifests. Renouncing that part of you because you think it lost relevance is like living in a house and never turning on the lights. Sure, you can continue, but you'll lose the warmth, colors, and beauty that make life worthwhile. Another very harmful belief is the idea that seeking pleasure is shameful or immoral. Many people grew up in times when self-pleasure was taboo, something whispered or seen with disapproval. These ideas, however old they may be, can deepen in the mind and heart, creating layers of guilt that persist even in the last decades of life. But let me tell you something in the clearest and most compassionate way possible. Taking care of your own body is not shameful. It's an essential act of self-love, respect for your health, and dignity for your existence. There's also a dangerous myth that suggests conserving sexual energy helps preserve physical strength. However, reality is exactly the opposite. Regular sexual activity, including self-exploration, feeds all body systems, stimulates hormones, maintains blood circulation, and protects tissue health. Just like a muscle that weakens from lack of use, the parts of our body dedicated to pleasure also need to be activated regularly to stay alive and vibrant. And perhaps the most harmful misunderstanding of all is the belief that sexual health is separate from general health. The truth is they're deeply interconnected and influence each other in ways modern science is beginning to understand. When you care for one, you strengthen the other. When you neglect one, both suffer. Understanding these misunderstandings is only the first step to recovering the vibrant life full of power you still have ahead. But knowing isn't enough. Knowledge is only half the battle. What you really need is a clear and practical map, a path that allows you to reconnect with your body naturally, comfortably, and safely. And that's exactly where we're going now. If you're still here and feel these learnings add value to your life, I invite you to write 1 in the comments so I know you're walking beside me in this process. Now let's move forward together to discover the fundamental lessons awaiting us in point 4. Fourth, the restoration method, a step-by-step process to recover sexual vitality. When I started accompanying elderly patients on their journey of reconnection with their bodies, I realized something crucial. It's not enough to offer words of encouragement. Most needed more than motivation. They needed a real, concrete, practical method, something they could follow with confidence and without fear of making mistakes. Thus, the restoration method was born, developed specifically to respect the particularities of the body that has gone through decades of life, honoring the natural changes of time while reigniting that vital connection between mind and body that is often lost. The first step is preparation. Before anything else, it's fundamental to create a space in which you feel completely safe, relaxed, and free of distractions. Adjust the room temperature to your liking. Choose a comfortable chair or bed and have high-quality lubricant at hand. Although they may seem like small details, these acts send a powerful message to your mind and body. You are important, and your health deserves time, attention, and care. The next step is relaxation. This is not a race or completing a task. Begin by breathing deeply, letting your muscles release little by little, while you feel your heart rate calm down. Imagine tension leaving your body like sand gently escaping between your fingers. This act of presence, of fully inhabiting your body in the moment, can open doors to sensations you perhaps thought were lost forever. After that comes awakening. This is the phase where you gently and curiously explore areas of your body you may have ignored for years: inner thighs, lower abdomen, chest. Touch these areas lightly without judgment, just observing how your body responds even to the most subtle signals. Each small response is a beautiful reminder that your body is still alive and eager to reconnect with you. After this comes focused stimulation, without rush or expectations. Gradually introduce more direct touch, allowing arousal to emerge naturally and at its own pace. Using slow and conscious movements instead of fast ones creates a depth of sensation frequently lost when we act in haste. This is not about quickly reaching a final goal, but about savoring the experience, letting your body guide you. Finally, we arrive at integration. This is the moment to stop, breathe deeply, and be grateful for choosing to invest in your well-being. Allow yourself to enjoy that sensation of vitality, whether subtle or intense. In this silent act of acknowledgement, healing begins to take deep root. Let me share the story of Mr. Manuel Torres, 78 years old, from Phoenix. Manuel came to my office after years of feeling disconnected from his body. "Doctor," he told me, "I don't even know if my body still works." I taught him this method step by step. At first it was difficult, but with patience and constant practice, he began to feel changes. 3 months later, he called me excited. "Dr. Carter," he told me, "I not only recovered sensations I thought were lost, my energy came back, I sleep better. I feel like a complete man again. That's the possible transformation. This method has nothing to do with trying to revive the past. It's about fully embracing who you are today, with all the wisdom, strength, and tenderness accumulated over the years. And I assure you that once you experience even a small spark of reconnection, you'll understand the enormous potential that still lives within you. However, even with the right method, the path isn't always easy. There are common obstacles that can easily interfere with your progress if you don't recognize them in time. In the next part, I'm going to show you exactly how to avoid the most frequent mistakes made by many elderly people, so you can stay firm on your path toward lasting vitality. 5. Overcoming challenges. What to expect and how to achieve success. Whenever I accompany someone on this journey through the restoration method, I repeat a fundamental truth. True change rarely follows a straight line. It's totally normal to encounter moments of doubt, frustration, or even discouragement along the way. I've seen this situation repeat many times. It's not because people don't have genuine desire to heal, but because, without realizing it, they fall into traps that make the path much more difficult than it needs to be. Knowing what to expect and how to react can make the difference between giving up or transforming your health and vitality in a lasting way. One of the most common challenges is unrealistic expectation. Many elderly people assume that if they do everything right, they should immediately feel like they did at 20 years old. When that doesn't happen, disappointment can take over their spirits. But the truth is, your body has changed. And that's not failure. It's simply part of life. Success now isn't measured by how quickly you reach intense pleasure, but by how deeply you manage to reconnect with your sensations, comfort, and presence in the moment. Even the smallest progress is valuable signs that healing is happening at the deepest level. Another frequent obstacle is inconsistency. Just as strengthening a muscle or recovering flexibility requires consistency, rebuilding your sensual connection also needs regular practice. Doing it only occasionally when the occasion arises is like watering a plant once a month and expecting it to flourish. Dedicate time 2 or 3 times a week, not as obligation, but as an act of respect for yourself. You'll see that your body will begin to respond to that kindness in ways that will gradually surprise you. Pressure to obtain results is another silent enemy. When you become obsessed with reaching a specific result, you generate tension in the same muscles and blood vessels you need to relax. Free yourself from the idea that each session must end in a certain way. Embrace the process. Any sensation of pleasure, however small, is a victory that deserves to be celebrated, not judged in comparison with memories of youth. Finally, shame may be lurking in the background, silently sabotaging your efforts. Many people carry old and hidden feelings that whisper to them, "This isn't right," or "I shouldn't need this." If that voice appears, face it with compassion, not judgment. Remember, seeking pleasure is not selfishness or superficiality. It's a fundamental act of honoring the wonderful body you still inhabit. Overcoming these obstacles isn't always easy, but the effort is worth every moment. Each step you take, each act of patience and tenderness with yourself strengthens not only your sexual vitality, but also your spirit and emotional resilience. And as you gain confidence, you may find yourself ready to embrace something even greater: the complete restoration of your health and energy through a simple yet profoundly transformative system, created specifically for this stage of life. Get ready, because what I'm about to share may be the most powerful change you've ever undertaken. Conclusion: recover your right to thrive. As we reach the end of this journey together, I want to leave you with an essential truth. Your body, your health, and your right to experience pleasure have no expiration date. They evolve, yes, but they don't disappear. Recovering that part of you doesn't mean chasing youth, but honoring the life that still flows within you, the strength that has sustained you through decades of challenges, and that unbreakable spirit that refuses to give up. I've seen men and women in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s rekindle a spark they thought had been extinguished forever. And along with that spark, they found renewed health, strengthened confidence, and unexpected joy. You deserve that too. It all begins with a decision. You must believe you're still capable, deserving, and truly alive in every sense. Start with small steps. Be patient and kind with yourself. Remember, each advance toward reconnection with your body is a step toward a future full, not just of more years, but of more life in each year. Your story is still being written today. Choose to write it with the strength, dignity, and fullness you've always deserved. If this video helped you better understand this essential truth about healthy aging, please leave a like so more men like you can find this valuable information. Share with that friend or family member you know needs it, because together we can change lives. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to receive more practical and science-based advice designed especially for you. In the next video, I'll talk about the 5 foods that are accelerating your aging without you knowing it. Don't miss it. I'm Dr. Evelyn Carter. Your vitality is waiting. Start today. Your body will thank you. See you in the next video.